Okay, so in this video, we're gonna go ahead and assemble our cute little Uncle Sam hat. And we can go ahead and begin by just working on the brim really quick. It's a very simple part of the hat. And you simply wanna fold this over. And there are two little trim pieces. One that gets glued right here. It kind of creates almost like a shadow effect. Okay, and obviously there's another one that goes on the other side and the contour runs like so. Okay, so you want to get that in place. And then we have two little strips that get glued on like so. Okay, so you want to get those glued on. There's two of these. The other one mirrors the one that I just showed you. Okay, and that's right here. And that gets glued on like so. Okay, so that's very simple brim, and then eventually we're going to put the base of the hat in there, and actually what we did was pop dotted it to the side, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So now let's take a look at the main structure of the hat. Very simple. We have this piece here. This is the exterior piece, and it has a tab. Here's another exterior piece with a tab. Okay, there are two long side pieces. Okay, and then we also have some liners. So just make sure you don't get any of the liners confused. Okay, this is another side piece here. Okay, and this is going to be your top. The bottom piece, the bottom part of this has a tab as well. Okay, so you want to get these all going. These are liners that go inside. This is also a liner, and this is also a liner. So we're just going to put those off to the side for now. Okay. And then we have the bottom piece and a liner that is indicated with the L. So let's just get these tabs folded over. Very simple assembly for this guy. I can see this, and actually some people have mentioned that they see a top hat. Actually, I think Sherilyn on our design team said, hey, this would look really cool as a top hat for New Year's Eve even. And I couldn't agree more. I think that's actually a really cool idea. So we're gonna go ahead and just line these pieces up here, side by side. Okay, just like so. And we're just gonna glue them in place, like so. All right, glue, cooperate. So we're going to put glue on this tab here. And again, just make sure that the bottom part is nice and lined up. That's the most important. The top will fall into place. Okay, and you saw how I did that. I had it butted up there against it, and that looks good. So we'll go ahead and take the other side and do the same thing. Just make sure the bottom is nice and aligned. Fold this guy over, and there we go. And get that into place. You can kind of fold it over again. Take a look at the edge there, make sure it's nice and flush. Okay, just hold that in place, give it a chance to dry. Okay, and then you can go ahead and fold this over, and we can go ahead and attach the face. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this tab here. And start with the bottom here, because it's really the most important thing is that this bottom piece is nice and lined up like so. And just follow your finger along that crease there. You can put it down on your table and flatten it out from the inside. And then we'll go ahead and close it up by placing glue on this tab here. And doing the same thing. I'm just going to pop it on my table, get that bottom part aligned nicely and perfectly. There we go. And then run your finger in there. Let it get a good grip. Very simple assembly on this thing. Okay, and I'm going to close this up. Again, the L, the one with the L is a liner. So you can do it either way. You can put the liner in first if you want, or you can put the bottom on. So I'm gonna go ahead and put glue on our bottom piece here, the bottom tabs. Okay. And place, oops, grab the liner. Don't want to grab the liner. Grab the bottom, put it into place. And then once it has that initial grip, go ahead and flip it and push in from the inside. And do your best to get it nice and aligned. Might have to shimmy some things around a little bit to get it perfectly aligned. Excuse me. And then go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the tabs as well as the center of the inside and finish it off with your nice little liner piece. Just pop that right inside. That's going to clean it up real nice. And then we have a liner piece for both sides. That not only does it make it look nicer, but it strengthens it too. It really reinforces the sides. So if you do decide to use this as like a gift box, or a gift bag, I should say, it'll be nice and strong. So glue that into the inside. Very simple. Okay, these as well, they go on the sides. So I don't need to show you that because it's very straightforward. And at this point, what we can do, well, this piece is going to get glued on like this. Okay, and you just want the bottom of that to be flush with the bottom of your box, of your hat or box or bag or whatever you want to call it. Technically, it doesn't have a lid, so I really wouldn't call it a box, but that gets glued like so. Okay. Now, also, you'll notice that we have a series of score lines. They're really tiny, just a few, just individual marks. And those are designated to show you where and how to align these pieces so that you know you have them set properly. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Just follow the score marks and get these pieces glued down like so. Okay, so you're going to do this for both sides, obviously. The same process that I'm showing you right now, you're going to repeat on both sides. Okay, and so here's the other ones for the other side. I don't need to show you that. Okay, and here's the other piece for the other side. And then, so I'm not going to glue those on because you get the idea. There are some panels for the side. Okay, and you want more of a gap at the top. There's less of a gap here, and that is going to line up with these stars nicely. So you glue this on both sides. And we've also included a score line on the side to help you locate the location and center this thing perfectly. That stripe there. Okay, so you want to put that stripe on both sides as well. So that's your hat. That was quick. And also, we have some score lines on the brim that show you how and where to glue it to make sure that you have it nice and centered. So it's kind of taken all the guesswork out of it. And then let me show you what I did here. I'm going to put this out of the way because we are literally done with the hat. So that hat goes together real quick. You don't have to, if you don't want to, make the little firecracker tea light holders, but they're really cool. So you can see there, I took 3 pop dots, 3D Zots, and stacked them together. And I just kind of did that because I wanted it to have a little gap so it looked more like a real brim. You can glue it flat if you want, but I just think that gives it a really cool look. Okay, so that is your hat. Now let's take a look at these firecrackers. These are very simple as well. Now the inside of this thing we filled with some crinkle fill, and I actually put some like fluffy pillow filler, polyester filler at the bottom, so I didn't have to use so much crinkle fill. And actually, you know what we can do? We can just talk about these stars real quick. All we did for these was we took these pipe cleaners, they're glittery ones. You've got, I think, 24 stars because there's a total of 12 stars. You don't have to make them all. You can just make a few if you want, or you don't even have to make them at all. But we just literally took and pop dotted them together like so and stuck them into the hat at the top. If you look at the photo, you'll see that. So that's very simple, depending on whether or not, if you use foil, you may want to use pop dots because the hot glue might melt it. If you use paper, you can use hot glue, and possibly standard glue. If you use like a clothespin to hold it in place while it dries, that'll work too. And just make them variable lengths so that they're not all the same. And instead of cutting them, I just kind of bent them to make them bigger or smaller, and then just shoved them in to the top of the hat, okay? So that is that. It's very simple. I probably didn't even need to explain that. And let's just quickly talk about and show you how to assemble the little fireworks. And they're very simple as well. We have 4 different styles, and they go together a little bit differently. And you'll notice that on the 4, some of them have score lines in various areas. They all have score lines indicating where and how to overlap the pieces, but some of them, like this one, I don't know if you can tell, if I get it in the right light, you see those score marks at the top there? You see the score marks at the top there, okay? Those are there to help you position the little stripes, okay? So that's what that's for. But let me show you how this goes together. And actually, let's begin by putting together one of the round, actually the actual tea light holder, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're going to fold these over, okay? And we're gonna glue this to itself, making sure that we have it aligned with that little score mark there, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and place a little bit of glue right there. And just get that glued into place and hold it, make sure it gets a really good hold. Okay, so just hold that for a few seconds, let it get a grip. Okay, and you'll have 8 of these circles. 1 is a liner, 1 is a top. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and bend these teeth over, and just gonna go ahead and get glue on the little teeth. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna take my liner piece and pop it in there. Okay, and the bottom of this is gonna be hidden. So we technically don't really need to put a bottom on it, but we wanted to kind of reinforce this piece as well. So we did add another layer to it. Okay, so we're just gonna cover that up. And again, this part is gonna go inside of our tube. And this is gonna hold our little tea light. Okay, so you can see here's a standard tea light, and that's gonna go in there like so. Now let's actually put the firecracker together. This one, let me do one that is a wraparound. Okay, one of these 2 are the wraparounds. This one here, it has score marks to help you position these angled stripes, okay? So just use the score marks to guide you, and they'll tell you exactly where to go. Now with these stripes, you do want to train them and just run them across the edge of your table, holding both ends like this and just running it against the edge of your table to kind of help it curve. And that's gonna help it stick more, okay? Now this process is true with all of these firecrackers and all the little wraps, even this piece here. So I'm gonna grab this from both sides and run it across my table. Okay, just to kind of begin curving it. Now if you have like a broomstick or something and you wanna wrap it around, you can, okay? So just do your best to give this thing a little bit of a natural curve. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll it around and we're gonna glue it right at the little score mark there, okay? And what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna grab my tape gun, and I'm gonna use my tape gun for this, because sometimes with glue, it takes a little bit too long for it to hold, and with round things like this, I kind of like the tape gun. So I'm just gonna get that and align it. Oh boy, if this doesn't send me back to high school. Okay. Used to be good at rolling things, but those days are behind me. Okay, so we're just gonna line that up with the score mark and then flatten it out, run my finger inside there, just push down, make sure it's nice and in place. Okay, and that's perfect. You know, that does a better job than the glue for some reason. Okay, and so at this point, what we're gonna do, and this tea light, let me get the tea light out of there. The tea light's gonna go right inside. It should fit pretty snug. Okay, you may not even need to put glue in there, but I would. So I'm just gonna put a ring of glue right up towards the top. Okay, you can see where I'm putting the glue. Okay, and I'm just gonna slide this in, and that glue is gonna grip it and hold it. Okay, and then your tea light's gonna go right in there. So that's really cool. And then for all of these, the process of making the actual Firecracker base is the same. And again, with this one, you've got these pieces here, and there again are score marks to help you position them correctly. So you're gonna glue on the little decorative elements. So that's how that one works. The one with the stripes has little score marks to indicate where the stripes go, so you can't get it wrong, okay? And then there are two that are full panels, okay? And all you're gonna do is wrap them around, and they should butt up perfectly on the other side, okay? And again, with these, you are gonna want to train them to help them curve. So grab them from both sides there and run them along the edge of your table to help them, you know, get a natural curve. And again, with this, I do recommend a tape gun if you have one, okay? I think it's just gonna work a lot easier and it's gonna hold a lot quicker. So I'm gonna grab my tape gun. And again, this process applies to the one with the stars as well. Same exact thing, okay? So you're gonna wanna put a nice line of tape on both edges, okay? And I didn't get that completely out to the edge. It's okay if it overlaps a little bit, because you can just kind of bring that stickiness back over to the side that you want to stick down, okay? And then I want to overlap, I want to hide that initial seam, okay? So just, actually, you want to make sure that the seam's not visible through the design, but you also want to overlap it, okay? So get that on there, and then as you're rolling it, just make sure that you get it nice and taut, okay? So start by making sure that that gets a grip, and then roll it nice and taut. Nice and tight, taut. I think taut's a word. Sometimes I make words up. Okay, and then just and actually see I didn't make it nice and taut like I told you to, and that's why it didn't butt up the way I wanted it to. So do your best to really let it hug the cylinder, and it should meet up perfectly, just like so. Okay, and that's pretty dang close. There we go, look at that. Okay, and then of course you've got your little tea light. Bam, you're all set. So you're gonna repeat this process 3 more times to make the other ones. And again, if you don't wanna put them in there, you don't have to, but I think they're really cool, very festive. You can dress it up with whatever papers. And again, use your imagination. These things don't have to be what we make them out to be. Another one of our design team members, Helly, turned it into a Mad Hatter hat. She posted that on Facebook as well, and that turned out really cool. So hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I can't wait to see your version of our Uncle Sam hat. Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.